Hi, I'm Matt Butcher. I'm a Moneywise table leader here and a big fan of the envelope system for personal financial management. I've been using it for about 10 years, and my hope is that this video will show you what makes envelopes unique. The fundamental difference in envelopes and most other budgeting systems is that envelopes is a pre-planning system versus a post-reporting system. And what I mean is that you decide where the money earned goes as opposed to seeing where it went after you've spent it, as is with most other systems. As a budgeting system, envelopes is based on the classic cash envelope system, but it's designed for the digital age that we all live in. Just as with the cash envelope system, you receive a paycheck and you divide that paycheck up into different envelopes. For example, if you received a paycheck for $100, let's say, you would put $10 in the giving envelope, you would put $50 in the rent envelope, 30 in the envelope for groceries, 5 for dining out, and 5 for car insurance, let's say. And then when you go to the grocery store, you look in that envelope and see that you have $30 to spend. If you buy enough groceries that cost more than $30, you're going to need to take money out of another envelope in order to cover that purchase. This forces you to consider what's more important and make a decision on whether you're going to get those extra groceries above the $30 and sacrifice money out of your dining out budget, let's say, or in some cases, you're going to have to not get groceries that are more above your budget because you don't want to sacrifice the money that's in your car insurance envelope, let's say. So again, the system just helps you to see the consequences of any spending decision you make and understand how that's going to impact your monthly budget. Obviously, I'm just using those dollar figures to illustrate the point, but at its simplest level, envelopes is about deciding where you want your money to go and keeping track of your progress between paychecks. Envelopes makes this simple because it automatically downloads all the transactions from your credit cards. For me, credit cards, debit cards, banks, any electronic form of spending, I should be clear. This, for me, was a really important feature because with other systems where you had to manually enter the transactions, it just didn't work for me. I didn't take the time or have enough discipline to enter those faithfully. And so my budget and my budgeting system would always just get off track. Because envelopes, again, downloads everything for you from your banks, then it just becomes a drag and drop exercise of where you want to file those transactions. And you'll see a screencast here in just a few moments that illustrates that a little better. The system also works really well for married couples because it allows both people to log in at any time, either from the web or their smartphone app, both iPhone and Android, and see how much money is in any given envelope. Groceries, for example. So that way, whether I or my wife are at the grocery store getting stuff, we know how much money is left in that envelope before we get paid again in order to not spend more than that at the grocery store. Like I said, I'm going to give you a brief screencast that is just designed to kind of give you a sense of day-to-day what the interface looks like on the desktop or on the computer, and there'll also be a short video of what it looks like using the mobile app. Mvelopes has certainly many advanced features, a setup process that it will guide you through. I'm not going to show you any of that in this video, but I'm always around and happy to answer questions in person, via phone or email, and then Mvelopes has a great knowledge base and set of video tutorials to help get you set up too. Just a quick note as you get into the screencast portion of this video, I've already gone through the setup process, and this screencast will start up where you would begin having gone through the automated or guided setup process that Mvelopes offers. Just made up a demo account here and imported some transactions from my bank just to give you a sense of, again, how it all works. The screen that you'll use most often is your inbox. And your inbox has kind of 3 key areas. It has over here all of your envelopes, and you can define all of these. Down here it has just a summary of your different accounts, and then over here it has all the transactions that have been downloaded from your various banks. In this case, you can see some have been downloaded from my checking account and some from my credit card that I will drag or assign to the various envelopes over here in this. The next part is the accounts, and this is just a summary of the accounts that you have. It's important to note you can also track your home mortgage, your investment accounts, everything, and this gives you a total net worth, even if it's not an account that you use daily. just an added bonus of envelopes. Then the budget. This is a really important part, obviously, part of the reason you're in Moneywise. So the income is when you get paid, and so here I've made up a paycheck that I get paid $1,500 every 2 weeks, and so Mvelopes automatically sets when that is. The budget is then, if in September, for example, I'm going to get paid $3,000. My budget then is, how do I want to divide that up by the various envelopes? Well, I know that my mortgage is $750 a month, or my rent is $750 a month, so I need in September to allot $750 for that. I spend about $75 in utilities, about $350 in groceries. Also, I'm very aggressively working to pay down my debt, so I want to put $500 a month towards that. So you get the sense of what's going on here. This is going to be literally pretty much a direct reflection of the budget that you build through this Moneywise course. And then there's the funding plan, and this is just an automated way to fund your envelopes. I won't get into that now. That's a little bit more of an advanced feature. You also have a debt center, which is great for managing debt and understanding how much, if you put a little extra each month, how much that's worth. It's available only in the Premier version of Mvelopes. I would recommend that you just get started with the free version of Mvelopes, and then as you get to using it and getting it integrated in your life, you can decide if upgrading to Premier is worth it. And then lastly is you can run all sorts of reports based on sort of what your spending plan has been, how well you've held to your spending plan. This is a great feature. With my community group, every year we all go through each other's finances and see how we did and how we stewarded the money throughout the year. And so for me, it's really easy because I just go on and run a couple reports of the envelope spending by month and our net worth over time, and I have the information to be ready for my community group meeting every December. The mobile app is really useful for checking envelope balances and assigning transactions on a day-to-day basis, but I find most of the time when I'm doing my weekly or twice weekly check-ins that I do it on the desktop version, just because it gives you an entire picture of your financial status, and also it's easier to drag and drop. Things you're going to do in envelopes are assign transactions, that is dragging spending into the respective envelopes, and then also funding envelopes, and that is assigning your paycheck or income and dividing it up into the envelopes and how you want to spend it. These next two sections of the video cover that in more detail, and so feel free to watch those to just get a better sense of how it works. So for example, Panda Express, that was eating out, so that would go right here in the eating out envelope. Time Warner Cable, that's a household utility, so that's going to go right here in the utilities envelope. And you can see that the balances now are reflected. So great example of eating out. I just went out to Panda Express. My buddy calls and says, hey, do you want to go grab burgers? And I am able to log into Mvelopes real quick and see, well, I have $37 to spend. But in this case, I also have another dining out instance where I need to assign it. So I actually have $25 to spend. And that's just a really important way to keep up to date, kind of a moment-to-moment understanding of where you are against your budget. So keep on assigning transactions here. Hopefully you get the sense that a withdrawal, I took $30 cash out, and that was to do some entertainment here. So again, you're going to see that it is more. I'm assigning a $30 transaction and only $25 balance. I'm going to go ahead and let this go negative, so I can just show you that you can transfer money when it's negative. So there you see that I have a red $5 transaction. The other important point that I want to point out is that you'll see here that this is the account from the credit card, and technically you haven't paid for this yet because you put it on a credit card. And so Mvelope does something really important. Right here is this money for credit card, and what it's basically doing is saying, if I spend, for example, $47 at Kroger, I'm going to drag that down to my groceries envelope, and I want you to notice that the money for credit card, which is currently $66 right here, is going to go up because Mvelopes is saying, well, I'm going to take some of that money out of groceries, the amount that you assigned on the credit card, and I'm going to put it in this money for credit card envelope. And so if if you have a balance on your credit card, if you pay this amount every month, assuming you're not trying to overpay for a previous balance, that's what you've spent that month, and that's how you can pay it without offering any interest, without paying for any interest or anything like that. So again, it's just a way for Mvelopes to say, listen, you've spent this money on your credit card, but you haven't really taken it out of your bank account. So we're gonna save that up here so that, again, you don't sort of overspend and aren't able to pay your credit card. Mvelopes also handles returns. So this is a deposit or a return I made to the Home Depot for some stuff that I didn't need. So I can drag this back to household, and you can see that my balance is now positive. So now I've assigned my transactions, and I now want to transfer some money from household to entertainment so that that's not red. You can just go up here and use this little envelope transfer button and select from household and go down to entertainment recreation, and I'm going to put actually $20 in there because I know that I want to go grab coffee with my friend later this week. So you can see now that my balance will change. And then here's an example of the coffee I went and grabbed. It's a great little coffee shop I know about. It serves just fantastic coffee at a really fair price, and the environment is just great. So I'm going to drag that down to entertainment recreation, and you'll see that my balance is reduced. So hopefully you get a sense of how this works day to day, and how it's just an incredibly visual way to look at the money that you've been given to steward and manage it well. It's important to know that Mvelopes isn't changing anything on your bank. All it's doing is downloading the transactions. It's a one-way download from the bank to Mvelopes. So I kind of think about this as like a clear transparency that overlays your bank account. If you just look at your daily balance in your bank account, you're going to get a single number. But if you look at your bank through, or your financial institutions through Mvelopes, you're going to see it divided up how you want to be spending that money, or how you want to be stewarding that money. Note that I've already set my budget, and I already have one paycheck right here in the income cash pool. So when you get a paycheck, it's going to download just like any transaction. It'll show green, like right here, as a deposit. You're then going to literally click and drag that transaction over to the income cash pool. The income cash pool is where any money you've received that you've earned or been given as a gift, whatever it may be, comes the income cash pool. You then can hit this little button right here, Fund Mvelopes. And so this is where you're deciding how you want to divide that $1,500 up over the various envelopes you have. So in this case, there's a couple things that I want you to see. I'm just going to go to September because it's going to be a whole month. I can see that my mortgage is $750. Well, depending on when you get paid, you might want to put all $750 in for that month, or you might want to only put half of it from each paycheck. In this case, I'm going to put it all in. For my utilities, I'm going to enter that I usually have about $50 in the beginning of the month and only about $25. And what you'll notice here is what's available, what you've allocated so far, and then the difference, or what you have left to allocate. And just to show you, for example, if I put $1,000 into clothing, it's going to tell me I'm negative $300. I am allocating more than I have available to spend, and that obviously that math doesn't work. So for my everyday transportation envelope, I'm going to put $25 in, which is half of what I want to do each month. I'm going to put in $12.50 for my clothing. I'm going to put in $50 for my dining out. And you can see over here on the right the funding remainder, meaning I've funded. So if I go back here, say I want to fund 100 every month. If I put in 99 here, it'll say I only have $1 remaining to fund for that month. And that's an important column to watch, because if I fund 200, let's say, I've now gone over what I plan to spend, and so I need to work at perhaps adjusting or editing my budget. I'm going to put $50 in there. I'm going to put $25 in here. My groceries, I know that I usually kind of do 2 grocery trips a month, so I'm going to put half in there and half in there. I'm going to put another $12.50 or half of my $25 in my household. You know, I got a doctor's appointment coming up, and I know that it's probably going to cost more than $25, so I'm actually going to put over the $50 that I think it's going to cost me. I do $150 in my my giving or my tithe, one out of each paycheck, and I want to put $100 in for my $1,000 emergency fund goal, and then also $100 in for my extra debt snowball. You don't have to fund every envelope. You can and you can adjust this each time you fund it with any given paycheck. So I've got this set where I want. I've allocated all of my money. And in fact, it's helpful to know you don't actually have to allocate all of your money every time. So for example, I'm going to just take $50 out, and I still have a difference of $50. So when I hit fund here, 2 things are going to happen. There's going to be $50 still left in my income cash pool, and there'll be a positive balance showing up in all of the envelopes that I funded or I put money into. So again, here you can see $50 left in my income cash pool because I didn't fund or assign that money. And then here I have $750 for my mortgage, I have $50 for my utility, all the various balances are ongoing in there. I'm just going to real quick go back and fund that $50 to my medical and healthcare. Hit fund. You'll see that I now have $0 in my income cash pool, and that $50 showed up in my medical and healthcare. So that was a perhaps too lengthy overview of the envelope system. If you think this system is for you, I would just encourage you to get a free account and give it a try. Or again, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, Matt Butcher. Thanks.